Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson's one of the planet's brightest boffins when it comes to looking out at the night sky and making sense of it all. In his new book, Starry Messengers, however, deGrasse Tyson sets himself a new challenge, taking a cosmic perspective on problems and issues facing human civilization here on Earth. I sat down with him to find out more. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Here on your side of the pond.
Yes, yes.
You've got another brilliant book out, Starry Messenger, Cosmic Perspectives on Civilization.
Yeah.
As always, I have to ask you at the top.
Just released in paperback, just
right.
a week ago.
I think I talked to you when the hardback came out. Just in a nutshell, for those who haven't read this or any of your stuff, what is the simple, normal person's version of what this is about?
Things look different from a cosmic perspective. And I think I quote Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell in this book. He looked back and he said, "You develop an instant global consciousness, a people orientation, an intense dissatisfaction with the state of the world, and a compulsion to do something about it. From out there on the moon, international politics looks so petty. You want to grab a politician by the scruff of the neck and drag him 250,000 miles out and say, 'Look at that, you son of a Can I say that?
Absolutely.
This is uncensored,
This
right?
is uncensored. You just did.
So he was feeling the cosmic perspective. When you're that high up, you don't see the national borders. And we're just one species down there on this spaceship Earth, alone in the darkness of the universe, with no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves, as Carl Sagan had poetically referenced. And so you're changed. And so what I attempt in this book is to take places where we have arguments over holiday dinners when the uncles and cousins and aunts come in, and say, what would that look like from a cosmic perspective? And half of those arguments evaporate in that instant. Because, like, what are you fighting about? Like, really? Can't you see why we are more the same than different? You don't see that because our tribal urges will pick every little thing that you can possibly say is different. Is your skin differently reflective of sunlight than mine? Well, let's make a big deal of that. Do you worship different gods or no gods or any? Let's make a big deal of that. Oh, you sleep with this person and this instead of that person of our own species. Let's make a big deal of that.
Why are we so flawed human beings?
I think that feature mattered to our survival 100,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. Because you don't know if another group that showed up on the horizon, will they harm you, take your resources or not? You don't know that. But you do know that other people in your tribe, they smell like you, they kind of look like you, and it's easy to distinguish them from the others. So that may have had survival value 50, 100,000 years ago. Today, when we have civilization and society and our intellect to know and understand our DNA, it's quite, I don't want to call it childish. Well, yeah, okay, I'm going to say it. This tribalism in the world feels childish to me. It's what would an alien say? They come say, "Oh, you're all the same species?" You say, "Yeah, okay, and you're fighting for these reasons, but you're the same species, right? What are you doing? Why?" And then they'll run home and report there's no sign of intelligent life on Earth. Just saying.
I did the last, like I mentioned to you before in a previous interview, I did the last television interview with Professor Stephen Hawking. And it was a fascinating insight into that remarkable brain that he had. But one question really stuck with me and one answer did. I said to him, what is, in your estimation, the biggest threat to mankind? And he said, when artificial intelligence learns to self-design.
Just consider that right now, AI is basically everywhere. There's no tech company that isn't fully exploiting the value of AI to their business model. In my field, which is not even a corporate entity, it's just science. In my field, astrophysics, we've been using AI at any possible point that it could advance us. We use it, and we've been using it for decades.
Why aren't you terrified of it? Because you're very positive about AI.
Okay, there are people who will read you the riot act about the future of AI, and many of them are deep in the field. So I'm not here to undo their concerns. All I will tell you is AI in its sort of restricted form, where I have a task, I don't want to do it. Let a machine do it, and let's teach it and have it machine learn what it is I need it to do and have it do it. That's kind of how AI has manifested in society.
Why do you not fear that AI can become genuinely sentient and start making decisions completely on its own?
Yeah, it depends. You can make a decision, but how much power are you going to grant it? All right.
I mean, look, I don't want to put words in your mouth here, and I certainly don't compare my brain to yours. However, my simple mind, my simple mind says to me that, as with the internet, as with all great new innovations, but particularly with AI, given its enormous power, I can absolutely see all the positives, especially in science, in medicine, all these things.
And there's an existential risk on the other side of that.
How are you not as scared as I am about that?
Yeah, so I think any technological advance has always had a dark side in the hands of nefarious actors. So yes, AI poses an existential risk. So too did nuclear weapons, right? So too do weapons in general, all right? And so I was on a board that served the Pentagon, a defense innovation board it was, and we confronted this issue with AI in the military. And we arrived at the conclusion that if a kill decision has to be made, a human being needs to be in that loop. You cannot have AI make that decision without a human being participating in it. Recognizing that AI is inevitable in that world, and so but you want to put in some constraints. And yes, this is not the rogue actor, right? These are rational people making these decisions.